Monkey Man opens pretty well, but it wasn't enough to take the top spot from Two Titans. I'm Adam, this is Does It Hold Up, and here's my box office roundup for this past weekend. As always, we're going to start with what were the top 10 movies at the box office. In first place, Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire holds that number one spot in its second week. It takes a hefty fall of 61%, but I bet they're not complaining considering the fact it took in another 31.2 million and it's at 134.5 million so far in just 2 weeks. They must be pretty happy with that. Monkey Man does open up in the second spot, new to the chart, with 10.1 million, much lower than the expected 14 to 15 million range, but if it was a better movie, maybe it would have hit those numbers. And if you want to know my full thoughts on the movie, go ahead and check out the review we have on the channel right now for that movie. It came out just a couple days ago. In third place is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in its third week with another $9 million, a 42% drop, and it's inching ever closer to that $100 million mark with 88.8 million. In fourth place, also new to the chart, is The First Omen, another horror movie. It made 8.3 million, and that's its total so far. I'm getting a little worried when it comes to horror movies. They seem to be just dumping them at any time throughout the year, and I'm not sure that's a great plan for a lot of these studios. People want to be scared, but I don't know if they are ready to be scared in February and March and April, and we need to find like a rhythm to when horror movies should be released, and maybe you can stick one random every now and then, but it just seems like every single horror movie released is just randomly picked on that date now. So I'm surprised this one even made that much. I haven't really heard good things about this movie. We'll see how it continues going forward. In fifth place, in its fifth week, is Kung Fu Panda 4 with 7.7 million, just a 25% drop, and it's about 166 million so far domestically. In sixth place is Dune Part 2 with 7.4 million in its sixth week, a 35% drop, 265 million overall. So, it could fall out of the top 10 next week, and that's still a fantastic total for the second part of the Dune franchise. In seventh place, another new movie to the list, Someone Like You, with 2.9 million. Arthur the King is in eighth place with 1.5 million, a 38% drop, 22.2 million so far. I was hoping that it would make more money. I mean, it's still doing $1 million plus a week, so maybe it'll continue to leg out a higher number, but that's not a great number for this kind of movie. Number 9, Immaculate in its third week with 1.4 million, a 57% drop, 14 million so far. And in 10th place, new to the list but not new to theaters, is Wicked Little Letters in its second week. It went into wide release this last weekend, and that's how it made 1.3 million. And you'll see a huge increase of 1,648%, moving from just a handful of theaters to a mass amount of theaters. It has 1.4 million so far overall. 4 movies fell out of the top 10 this week. After just 1 week, Tillu Squared and Crew both fall out. After 2 weeks, Late Night with the Devil. And after 5 weeks, a surprising 5 weeks, Imaginary finally falls out of the top 10. This is where we bring in one of our newer charts. It's our 2023 weekend comparison to the same weekend this year. We are in the 14th weekend of 2024, so we're going to go ahead and compare that to last year's 14th weekend and take a look how well the box office is standing up. As you can see, last year blows this year out of the water. We had Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire, open up at number 1 this weekend, leading a grand total of 84.8 million at the weekend box office. But last year, we had a massive opening of $130 plus million for the Super Mario Brothers movie, which led the way to an astounding weekend total box office of 204.8 million. No matter what movie opened up this weekend, I don't think we were going to hit that total. So, not every weekend's going to be a win. This one we got blown out. I also worry about the next couple of weekends because Super Mario Brothers held pretty strong, making quite a bit of money week on week, And I just don't see anything coming out anytime soon that's really going to compete with that. In fact, I don't think there's any movies coming out this year that are going to compete with the likes of Barbie, Super Mario Brothers, Oppenheimer, some of these huge grossers. Dune Part 2's got that 265 million, which is a great start for one movie, but no other movies are really doing that well. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of losses weekend comparison for 2024. I don't know how much that says about the box office. I was hoping great movies would come out this year and really usher people back to the theaters, and there will be a few that will make some money like Deadpool and Wolverine, but there's just not enough. Let's go ahead and see how the top 10 2024 movies are currently stacked up. Dune Part 2 is still in first place with that 265 million. Kung Fu Panda 4 still in second place with 166 million. Godzilla and Kong moves up 2 spots into third place with that 134.5 million. Bob Marley One Love drops 1 place with 96.5 million. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire moves up 1 spot with 88.8 million. Wonka moves down 2 spots to 6th place with 85.2 million, and the rest of the chart stayed the same with Migration, Mean Girls, Beekeeper, and Anyone But You rounding out 7 through 10. No movies dropped out of the top 10 this week for 2024, and I'm not sure any are going to drop out in the next weekend either. Another one of our newer charts to the show is the 2024 genre distribution, where we take a look at what was the total box office so far for the year and how did it break down per genre of movie. Looking at studios is really cool, and I might actually add that chart going forward so you can see what studio holds the market share, the largest market share of the current box office. But I also thought looking at the genres is kind of cool because it says a lot about what kind of movies people are going to check out. And studios will look at that and get a lot more of those types of movies coming out in the near future. So right now, the total gross at the box office is about $1.75 billion. Action still leads the way with 37.5%. Comedy's in second place with over 17%. Drama, 16.6%. Musical is slowly dropping very quickly with 9.99%, so 10%. But that's because Wonka was a musical, and it's slowly fading, and so was Mean Girls, and it's also slowly fading away. Adventure films make up 6.8%, romantic comedies 3.6%, 3.63%, horror makes up 3.6%, thriller and suspense 3.4%, and all others is about 0.7%. When I say others, that basically just means they didn't have a high enough percentage for them to get their own line, so I just took all of those genres, combined it into others like westerns and, mystery or whatever the other genres might possibly be. This is actually really interesting to look at because action has pretty much been leading the way since I started this chart just a couple weeks ago, and with that healthy, a 20% increase over second place comedy movies, I don't see that number dropping anytime soon. I mean, Monkey Man is an action movie. Godzilla and Kong is an action movie. Dune's an action movie. And those are the top movies right now. Those are the ones that are making money at the box office. Sure, you have Kung Fu Panda, but you could probably list that as an action movie as well. It's a family-friendly action movie, but it's still an action movie. So it's not surprising that number's so far and away above everything else. And I'm not sure it's coming down anytime soon. I actually think it might just be increasing its lead as we go. Monkey Man, I talked about this last weekend, about how I was hoping that it would do well because it would showcase that there are movies made for adults at the theaters that we can go and spend our money on. And I wish we had better news about Monkey Man. I wish it had gone and made 25 million, 30 million this opening weekend. I also don't think it has legs. I don't think it's going to play for weeks on weeks on weeks and people are just going to go see it because, to be fair, it's just an okay movie. There's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot right with it as well, but it doesn't seem to be something that's going to drive people to theaters. So what's the next movie? What's the movie before we get to the summer blockbusters, the summer movie season, which usually starts in May, so we're only a couple weeks away from that. But before we start that, are there any movies coming out that could possibly get people back into theaters so we can see another 100 million plus theatrical gross for a weekend for all movies? Or are we just going to start falling farther and farther behind 2023? Let me know in the comments below if you think there's any movies that are going to get people back into theaters coming out in the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff that YouTube loves so that the algorithm knows that you guys want to watch these kind of videos. I'll be back next week with another box office roundup of the top 10 movies. Later this week, I'm trying to get a review out for a movie. I just don't know which one it's going to be yet, but I'll find something, as I always do. There's a bunch of other great videos on this channel as well, so if you're looking for something to watch, go scroll through and check it out. We also do fun movie facts shorts every single day here on the channel as well, so subscribe if you like that kind of stuff and check those out. Just find fun behind the scenes stories from a bunch of different movies, some classics, some movies you probably love. Until I see you next time, just remember, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and as always, keep watching movies.